We're live. We're live. We should be live. What's up? What's up, everybody? Yep, I have already announced the birth of my child, but it was tucked away in a longer live stream, so I think that some people missed it. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed that nobody really seems to give a shit. I guess that's because my baby daddy is not Elon Musk. Nobody gives a shit, right? Is that how it is? But anyway, I'm going to be talking more about that in a little while. First, we're going to talk about Elon Musk's baby mama drama. This light here is kind of strobing a little bit. Just a second. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But y'all probably can't see it, right? If the strobe effect is bothering you, let me know. I'll just leave it on, though, for right now. I know that this is normally, and by the way, hello everybody, and thank you to my mods. It looks like right now we've got AJ and Laura B on. What's up, everyone? Someone asked, how many kids does Elon Musk have? 13 that we know of, but given that he has a breeding fetish, it must be more. I know I say a lot of harsh things about Elon and about his baby mama. This is just the nature of social media and being a public figure. God knows that even at a small level, being a tiny semi fraction of a public figure like I am, I get so much shit for all kinds of things. So, that's the nature of the arena. And believe me, Elon Musk and Ashley St. Clair, they have certainly given as good as they are getting. So, it's one thing if we were talking about two very private people and their personal lives, but these are two people who not only have been extremely public, but also have been as cutting and satirical as anyone else, and at times have made fun of a hell of a lot of people. And so they have played the rough and tumble game on Twitter and elsewhere in the public arena. And so I don't have any problem talking about this. And I don't have any problem talking about it also because Elon Musk and to a lesser degree Ashley St. Clair have been putting out, and I don't like this term because the term has sort of a bad feeling around it, and a lot of people hear the term and it's an immediate turnoff. But they have been avid pro-natalist publicly for at least a year or more. I mean, we're talking years now that Elon Musk has been actively urging people to have lots of kids. And you see that if you just go on his page and scroll down, that there's a lot of, and natalist, by the way, is the idea of that it's good to have children, and the pro-natalist propaganda. Now, look, I'm here because someone had me, and I understand that's what humans do, and it's a biological drive. And I have a number of friends who happy moms. I was so happy for them when they got pregnant, etc. I understand that this is how things are. But I also think that the kinds of extreme attitudes that certain people like Elon Musk have been putting out there. And it's not just Elon Musk. It's also like when Tucker Carlson goes on a podcast and declares to people that they should have children as early as possible, and even in high school. And he says, quote, "And it doesn't matter. Don't worry if you can't afford it." I don't know what it is right now on the right, in certain pockets of the right or parts of the right, that there's this extreme trad philosophy that's getting pushed on us. And what's interesting about all this too is that I'm someone who I have pretty traditional values, believe it or not, when it comes to what is the best environment for children. I think that it's best for a parent, and there are a lot of reasons why it ends up being the mom, and in most cases probably should be the mom. I think that a parent should be at home more or less full time with children in their earliest formative years. My mom did that, and it was a big sacrifice that she made in a lot of ways. But I do think that that's best. I think that here's the thing. I think that having kids, y'all, is a serious fucking thing. And sometimes I think that as someone who doesn't have children and has chosen not to have children, not for any higher reasons, but just because I personally don't want to have kids, never have, in a weird way, I actually respect reproduction more than people who are out there saying, it doesn't matter if you can afford it, have 15, God bless him, Tim Pool. I'm so happy for him that he's had a child now. I'm sure that he's wanted one for a while. But when I went on his show, had a great time, but he was trying to tell me that women in an ideal state should be having 12, 15 kids like in the old days. And moreover, that's what they actually want to do. It's just they've been so confused by society into caring about other things. Now, I think that's extreme. But I also think that women, generally speaking, that someone should be at home with a child in the formative years, and that if you are going to have a kid, then part of that is understanding that it's not a pet. It is a life form that you are shaping. When you look, the formative years is when your personality is fucking set. I know that people, it's not productive to say that we really, as adults, don't have free will, and it's not something that people like to hear. And also, there are many cases, as we know, where people have changed longstanding patterns in their lives. They've gotten to a certain age where they finally had a number of experiences. They've had an epiphany. There's something that happens. So I don't like to say that change isn't possible, but I just wanted everybody to understand that psychologically speaking, there's so much research, longstanding research showing that who you are is laid down before you have the will to choose it. I'm basically more or less who I was when I was a little girl. You can watch, whole home movies, those big camcorders we used to have. You can watch home movies, and you can watch that home movie, and you can see, oh, that's still how she is today. There's just some knowledge, intelligence, some experience that's been layered onto that. And so my point being that I feel like as someone who has chosen not to have kids because I think it is such a huge responsibility, and I'm not only am not interested in it, I don't think I'm up to it. I feel like I have more respect often than for kids than people who are procreating and putting kids in less than ideal situations. And I wasn't trying to attack those of you whose kids are in daycare or anything like that, because look, one thing that life is very difficult. We make a lot of decisions before we've even really thought about them, and most of the time we're just struggling to get through the wind tunnel. There's shit blowing all around us. To me, I will always say the best metaphor for life is you are trying to struggle through to walk in a wind tunnel, because life is constantly blowing shit at you, metaphorically speaking, and you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, you didn't foresee certain things happening, you didn't even know yourself because you didn't ask to be put here, you were just put here. So the responsibility, I ultimately blame God for everything, by the way. And that's not even a joke, but that's a topic for another discussion. I'm really in right now a kind of a crisis of faith. It's not that I don't believe in God. It's just I don't like it very much. But that's another thing as well, which probably also, by the way, all feeds into my desire not to have children. It's like, yes, come and join me in this awful place. And it's not that my life in particular is awful, although I do struggle every day, with depression. But there are terrible things that happen. I've lost in the last year, I've lost 3 cats that I really loved. And death is never, especially when it comes to animals, y'all know it's rarely like peaceful. It's usually there's something that's happened that's pretty traumatic to kill a pet or to cause a pet to die or whatever. And so I've lost for various circumstances, not my fault, but we live in a dangerous area. So that was one of them. 2 of them were just strays that were kind of already wild and whatever. But and one of those had a tumor and died, probably had cancer and had to be put down. But I'm just saying, like, even that has really traumatized me and saddened me in a lot of ways. So I cannot, and we all lose people and so forth. And then we all have to stare down our own mortality. I understand why people are so upset about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but we're all hostages in a way. We're all going to a final destination experience that we don't want to go to. even if there are great things on the other side or another life or whatever. So what the hell am I talking about here? How does this have anything to do with Elon Musk? It got a lot more serious than I thought it was, actually. It started with a joke about me having Ethan Ralph's baby, which I'm going to get back to in a second because he's not acknowledging the kid. But it got more serious than I thought. But I'm just trying to explain to you my perspective on having children and why it annoys the hell out of me when I see people like Elon Musk and to a degree Ashley St. Clair, who have been propagandists for a while for have kids, get off your birth control. I mean, Ashley St. Clair has been on a crusade against hormonal birth control. And I'm sorry, I do see your super chats. I'm going to get to them in like 5 minutes. She's been on a crusade against hormonal birth control. And I'm not saying that hormonal birth control does not have side effects or issues. Everything does, including pregnancy and having kids. But this idea that, like, what's wrong with women that they would want to, like, not have as many kids as possible, would want to control their, their reproductive cycles. Come on, those stupid feminist bitches. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. So then to get us to the point we're at now, when you see what Elon Musk, his MO, at least with some of his children and his baby mamas, and I know there's tons of blame to go on Ashley's side too, and I'll get to her in a minute, but when you see someone like Elon Musk, and this is his MO, at least with some of his kids, is to be a shitty dad. And, I feel bad for him saying this, but I think he probably had a large role in why his one of his sons with his first wife became trans. And I still refer to him as a him because that's just, I don't believe in, like, we can bend realities like that linguistically. But, like, I mean, and that kid goes on social media and regularly calls out his dad for being a bad dad. Says, you weren't a family man. It's a charade. You weren't a family man and stuff. And you think, if he's not got the best Elon Musk track record with at least some of his kids that have either gone off the rails or that he's not paying attention to, or that he's got this really crazy, these contentious relationships with his baby mamas, maybe he shouldn't be lecturing to the rest of us and telling us that we need to have a bunch of kids or that we need to save Western civilization. Yes, I get the demographic argument, and it's a legitimate one about certain populations that are dying out or whatever. But that all of that does not fall on the burden on the shoulders. That burden should not fall on the shoulders of individual people who are just trying to get through life. Okay, we're just going to have to accept demographic change. Then we're just going to, life keeps going and then it doesn't, and you die. What the fuck do any of us really care anyway? I'm serious. But I know that's too dark for some of you. But Elon Musk, and it looks like, y'all, this last one with Ashley, assuming it was the last one, that it was not conceived, that it was his son, right? That he was not conceived through IVF, because there are references now in the text that Ashley has published or that she's put, I get, in her paternity suit and then got leaked to the press. Or y'all know how this works, right? But anyway, there's these texts from Elon and basically saying he wants to make more babies with her, or she's claiming that he said that. I'm losing track of what was actually in the text and what she just claims he said. But anyway, wants to make more babies with her and whatever. And she said that was conceived on a certain date, not in a lab or anything. So apparently, even though he is having some of his kids through IVF, he's also having some of his kids, or at least this one, naturally. And so that makes me wonder, y'all, if this is the reason, if this is part of the reason why he so much wanted this to be a secret, because unlike maybe a lot of the others that were planned, like with Siobhan, he's obviously very, very proud to have kids with Siobhan. And he seemed that he was very proud to have kids with Grimes. Now, I know Grimes is having problems with him now that they're not together. Yeah, shocker, that's what happens. But he seemed very proud to have kids with her. And so this feels to me, and I think this is why Ashley St. Clair is so upset, this feels like one of those almost like old school situations where you've got the official wife or whatever, or queen, and then you've got, the side chick, concubine, whatever, who's completely devalued, or the floozy. I'm not calling her that, but I'm just talking about archetypes, or like the floozy that he has fun with, but then he really didn't want to procreate with, right? So then it's, it has to stay shut up, and he's not going to put his name down on the birth certificate. And the reasons that he was giving her that it was to protect him and them from assassination, because he was number 2 on the assassination list after, I hope I don't, Secret Service. I hope I just didn't get caught by some algorithm there. I imagine when you mention that, there's automatically a flagging, or maybe not if the Secret Service sucks. Nowadays, like, they kind of suck, right? So anyways, but no one's plotting to do anything here. But I'm saying that Elon Musk put this in one of his texts to Ashley St. Clair is why he didn't want to be identified as the baby's father. And he was saying, it's this until the election is over, it's very high risk. I don't know. Maybe it is too, but so So that's what's going on, is that I think that seeing Siobhan Zilis and Elon Musk meeting with the Prime Minister of India, Modi, what was that? It was the day before Valentine's Day. Here, let me pull up the picture here. So I don't know if Elon and Siobhan are in a sexual romantic relationship, but she is taking on, let's put it this way, she is taking on the role as the spouse of the head of state, or the first lady, so to speak, or the queen, or the official wife, or whatever you want to call it. And so that, y'all, that's what, more than the money, that's what I think Ashley Sinclair, I don't know her, I can't speak for her, but I think that's probably, if she was calculating, which it kind of would seem like, but but never know. But it would seem like that's really the end game here. It wasn't just to get a nice fat child support check every month and to get these perks and a $15,000 a month apartment in New York and a Cybertruck and all of that. Like, yes, I'm sure all of that was part of the appeal for Ashley, but also I think she probably, like a lot of women in this situation, she probably really has hoped, initially thought that she was going to be the girlfriend. She was going to be like basically Grimes, or be like what Siobhan is doing. Here, I'm still looking for a picture. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. And I still haven't forgot my super chats, y'all. Thank you. I will come back. Okay. So, yeah, so there were all of these the day before Valentine's Day. There were all of these pictures of them meeting, Siobhan and Elon and their kids, meeting with the Prime Minister of India. And so it's like this very official, first lady, queen-like, wife-like thing to do. Now, if you're Ashley St. Clair and you're on your 5th month here, shut up with your kid, so to speak. I mean, yes, she was able to leave and stuff like that. But in terms of like having to stay shrouded in secrecy, and this guy won't acknowledge your kid, and he's giving you the runaround about it, and it's not gotten better after the election, as he was saying it would, or he's not acknowledging you and whatever. And he's giving you, like I said, probably all these bullshit reasons. And then you see this shit. And so it doesn't matter again if he's sleeping with Siobhan or not. Like, this is a family. This is a family, and this is a wife-husband thing that's going on here. Like, she is his, I mean this in the best sense, like his what, and I was going to say escort. What do they call it? Consort. Thank you. Consort. So she's like the queen consort here. So yeah, this is going to piss you off tremendously if you're Ashley. And so that's why the next day, I don't think it was for Valentine's per se, although she might have been feeling extra low because of that. But that's why the next day, right, she then reveals that she has a kid with Elon Musk, and she had to blame it on this revelation. She had to blame it on something. She can't just say, oh, well, I'm jealous, so I'm coming out with this. And so she made up this story about how supposedly the paparazzi were going to out her, even though apparently I'm told this was known by a ton of people in like conservative and blogger circles, like way before any of this. So that's what's going on there. That's, it was all very predictable in a way, which is like, it's kind of funny thinking about Elon Musk as someone who is a obviously super, super smart guy. And I think the Doge thing is great. And I appreciate him in a lot of ways politically. I actually, the only issue I have with Elon Musk is I just think the sort of naive hypernatalist propaganda. And I don't believe that people shouldn't have children or whatever, but I just think that this sort of naive way of pushing this idea that we should go back to some halcyon yesteryear where women loved shooting out, 12 to 15 kids or whatever. A number of those kids would die in infancy, or they would die in childhood because there were so many, didn't have antibiotics. There were so many diseases and stuff, and medicine wasn't as good, right? But anyway, and y'all, I don't even really want to talk more about the whole issue of the whole political issue of this, or philosophical issue around having lots of kids or what have you. I've done videos on this before where I've called out the right for, I think, being too extreme in its conversations these days about birth control and about women and children. But again, in a lot of ways, I'm a traditional person, and that may be hard for people to believe, but traditional in the sense of like, when it comes to kids, like, I do think that more structure is better, and having more parents and having the male and the female represented there, and all of these things. Like, I do think tradition is often very important, in that there are things that people generations before us have found through trial and error and great difficulty that tend to work better. And not everything, but I'm so, again, I'm so far from being a radical or a feminist, and most of my channel is actually about rebuking a lot of this Me Too bullshit, right? But I do the trad, a lot of the trad propaganda, or some of it at least, it really starts to get on my nerves. So, anyways, though, now people have pointed out that Elon Musk has never been a traditionalist in the sense of saying that you should be monogamous or you should get married, and that is true there. So there's not an hypocrisy in terms of like his sexuality or the kinds of relationships that he has, because he's not been a traditionalist in that way. He just says that you should have a bunch of kids. Just like shoot them out. I guess that's his philosophy, y'all. It's like you have a bunch, some go off the rails, whatever, some you don't talk to them or their baby mamas, whatever, but you're just trying to get your superior genes out there or something, or get more Westerners out there, or whatever whatever the philosophy is, right? All right, let me look at my super chats. We'll talk about Grimes then in a minute. Andrew says, I do give Ashley props for going after Elon and X. Well, that's a good question you bring up. And hello, Andrew. Do y'all think, so let's talk about then. I've been ragging on Elon Musk here, and I'll talk about Grimes briefly. So let me say that, and then I'll ask the question I want to ask based on what Andrew has said here. So Grimes then recently, what was it, yesterday, called out Elon on Twitter, and I'm not going to dig up the tweet, but basically said something to the extent, let me bring up Grimes though. So y'all know who this is. It's the Canadian musician. I don't know hardly any of her work or whatever, but she was the mother of 3 of his kids. I think one of theirs was delivered through a surrogate. I'm not sure if they were IVF or not. I've just never cared, honestly, that much. But anyways, she called out Elon Musk and said that apparently their kid, she claims, has a medical emergency that needs attending to, and they've been unable to reach him. And of course, then there are pictures coming out of, what was it, CPAC or whatever, where he's got the chainsaw and everything. And so I don't know if Grimes was upset to see that, like, while she's having to deal with their kid's medical problem, he's out here on the CPAC stage with the fake chainsaw or whatever, having a great time. I don't know. I mean, again, like, when you procreate with Elon Musk, though, what are you expecting? And so I guess that's the question then, now that I've been ragging on him a bit, that I want to get to with these women, and maybe less so with Grimes, because that was, at least, it seems like, a legitimate, acknowledged relationship where he was like, yeah, this is my girlfriend and stuff, which means it does mean something. Ashley St. Clair, I mean, I don't want to use any unkind words that we might have in our mind, but like the way that Elon has treated her, there's a specific designation in a man's mind for a woman like that. It's not the take you home to meet mom, you might become my wife. I'm not even saying that that's right. I mean, she writes a lot of really smart things. I've seen her speak. I have followed her page for a while. She's extremely articulate, witty, funny. Like, I don't think someone wrote online, I think it was Cassandra McDonald wrote, why does I keep saying Cassandra McDonald? No, damn it. What is her name? The lady who was on Timcast for a long time. I talk to her sometimes. I'm just blanking on it. Is it Cassandra McDonald? Hold on, I'm look it up because I don't want to mess up her name if I don't. Yeah, it is. Okay. No offense there, but I'm terrible with names, and also on this stream. Okay. Bring up Elon and Grimes again. So anyway, she said Ashley's not some dumb chick, and I appreciated her standing up for this person, if this is her friend. Ashley has a number of friends, a number of women friends in the blogosphere, or the conservative alt blogosphere, whatever you want to call it. And so I appreciate people for standing up for her. And so I thought that was cool. Cassandra and other people are standing up for her, but it's not about her being dumb. No one's claiming that she's dumb. It's, or maybe some people are, but I'm not. It's that she basically ignored all of these obvious warning signs and chose and seems to have chosen, because I hold women responsible for birth control. Yes, I do. Chosen to procreate with this guy, and knowing that it was not an ideal or stable circumstance. And then, basically, as Ari Jacob put it, she's surprised that a transactional relationship is transactional. So here's my question then, following up on what Andrew said. How much do you all, in these situations, how much do you all blame these women, and maybe more specifically, someone like Ashley St. Clair in this? Like, are people being unfair to her online when they use terms like she targeted him, she was a gold digger, etc.? I mean, in fairness to people saying things like this, there are, some of you might have seen this, there are tweets online, conversations, exchanges between her publicly, between her and Elon Musk, or her and other people about Elon Musk, where she's saying, basically saying, oh, do y'all know if, basically, do y'all know if he's single or how I can get in touch with him? Because it seems like it's easy to be his girlfriend or baby mama or something like that. I don't remember the exact exchange. And this was what Milo Yiannopoulos reposted and what Elon Musk himself replied to. Elon replied, whoa. So here's my question. Like, how much do you blame Ashley in this situation? And how much do you see her behavior in a negative light? Like, I don't like the lies. I'll say this. I don't like the lying about why she came forward. She should just be above board about that, not this bullshit story about being targeted by the media. And then to also, when she comes forward, do this, I'm sorry, really tacky photo spread an article in the New York Post. In one of them, her feet, she had her legs stretched out. She was like posing. She was posing in a high rise or something, I guess in New York. I guess it's the high rise that Elon bought for her. And by the way, nice kitchen that he bought for you. A lot nicer than mine. She's posing, looking all serious, right? It's the one where you can see her feet. I mean, this is why women are not taken seriously. They do stuff like this, and then they wonder. Hold on, I'm trying to bring this image up. Yeah, here we go. They do stuff like this, and then they wonder why they're not taken seriously, or why people are calling them some dumb chick. Here, I'm going to get the different image on screen. Why people are calling them some dumb chick. Here. It's a weird, hello, I want to introduce myself to the world. I'm Elon Musk's baby mama. Now look at my sexy feet. I mean, I don't know how else to interpret this. Sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. I don't know how else to interpret this. It's weird. And then there's this other picture that I just showed you. Let's bring this up again. This was another one. By the way, these are photos that she took expressly for the purpose of this New York Post article outing her as the mother of Elon Musk's child. So this was not just some random photos that the New York Post put in here. These were photo shoots that she took and that she approved. And so look at this outfit. Look, it's fine if people want to look sexy. This is something that would look great if you were like going to like a swanky club or whatever. But if you want someone to take you seriously, what is up with the bra corset see-through thingy? What the fuck? What message are you trying to send? And I made a tacky joke about it on Twitter, and I said that this is a great outfit to wear if you want to look like you're not a hoe, but also you want to let any billionaires know who might be interested that yes, you're still available for sex, but also you're smart, and so you have that jacket on, that tailored jacket over it. I mean, every word of it, though, it's true. It is fucking true. Not much different, frankly, from this other one. Don't even get me started. Am I going to get hit? YouTube, am I going to get hit with a porn violation here for showing this on screen? This was the inauguration. This wasn't just some Hollywood event. Again, I don't care if someone wants to look like this anytime, frankly. There's no skin on my back. But yeah, this would be fine. Oh, I mean, it's still kind of tacky looking, but it'd be fine if you want to wear it to some Hollywood event or whatever. This was the fucking inauguration. Lauren Sanchez, you were around fucking serious people at a serious event. Why on earth would anyone want to look at your boobs? I just don't understand. And my issue too, while we're on the subject, sorry, I'm about to go off here and people are going to say, oh, you're just jealous because you're small chested. That's fine. You think whatever you want. But speaking as a woman, let me just say, when women show their boobs like this, no, I don't think that it's wrong. But when women show their boobs like this, they know that this gives a bunch of people hard-ons. I don't know how else to put it. Because when I look at something like this, sometimes I feel a little tingle. I'm not even joking. This gives, if you are going outside in public like this, you want men to look at your chest and be sexually aroused. There's just there's no way around it. Tell me I'm wrong, women. Tell me that I am fucking wrong. Tell me. And sometimes it's okay and appropriate for you to show off your sexuality. You go to a club looking like that, I'm going to say, great. I mean, I still think it's just kind of an ugly outfit, but like, whatever. Or even the beach. You know, you go to the beach, and kind of one aspect of going to the beach is like understanding you're going to see a lot of sexy bodies, right? And a lot of not sexy bodies too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I see a girl in a bikini in the beach, and I'm thinking, well, this is like the appropriate place for it, or whatever, right? But you expose yourself this way. There's no way around it. You were trying to get a sexual reaction from people, and my question is why? Why do you want a bunch of horny people at this inauguration? Why do you want to make the men and women around you uncomfortable when they're interacting with you about where their eyes goes? Can I tell you where their eyes go? Can I tell you all a story? This is from like 5 years ago. Not particularly interesting, but just as an example. My significant other and I went to some kind, I think he was in MBA school, or maybe it was an army thing. He's ex-army, but we went to some kind of semi-formal social event. And there was a guy there with his wife, and he was an ex-military guy. It's like, it must have been a military thing, or maybe he was like a professor. I don't know, whatever. It's a professional guy. And he's, they're all like nicely dressed up in a suit and everything. And I'm dressed nice. Everybody's dressed nice. And this woman, his wife, this guy's wife, looked like to be in her maybe like late 40s. Yes, she's dressed up, but she had a huge chest, and she had something on kind of like this, where she was basically like almost popping out of it. And the woman herself was not particularly attractive. So it wasn't a matter of like what people would say, oh, you're just threatened or anything. No, it wasn't like that. But it was actually like obnoxious to me to have to stand there and interact with her and ignore her giant breast in my face. Like, it's rude. It is rude, because you've got this thing in people's faces that they can't ignore. And in my case, it's just because it was like so there. In cases of some of the men standing around, it might have been doing some other things for them. But the point is, we're all standing around trying to have a civil exchange here, and your boobs are in everyone's face. And I just don't understand why it's necessary. I just don't, in that context. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't understand. So when I look at this picture then, and this lady, she's never going to get her a wedding from Bezos. Let me just put that prediction down right now. I'm not trying to shame or anything like that or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, she's never going to get a wedding from Jeff Bezos. They're going to be engaged a long time. And anyways, so then when I see Ashley St. Clair, oops, back to this, sorry. When I see Ashley St. Clair, there we go. When I see her supposedly trying to be taken seriously for her son's sake too. Like, that's the other thing. It's not just about you. It's not about you, Ashley, outing yourself as Elon Musk's gal or former gal or aggrieved ex-girlfriend or whatever you think you are. This is now about your son and the position that he is being put in when he has no say in the matter, and how he's being presented, or your relationship with his father is being presented, or these public exchanges that you're having with his dad. And so you're gonna look like this, like frankly a nice looking madam in a brothel. I just don't understand it. I just don't. So y'all can call me sexist if you want, or whatever. I'm a woman saying this shit, and God knows I'm not a prude. Whatever. So that's my issue. Let me look at the other super chat here. I don't know. It's not that I really care about any of this, because I don't. It's that I just get annoyed by the hypocrisy of people pretending that they're doing one thing, they're doing something else. It's like Lauren Sanchez at the inauguration pretending to be classy with the suit, the jacket on, but then, ooh, here are my boobs in a bra. And it's like, no, just be honest. Dude, just take off the jacket and just wear your fucking bra at the inauguration. That would be at least more honest. And that I would just get a chuckle out of. I'd be like, good for you, gal. You're not taking this shit seriously. Just show up in a bra. Next time, Lauren Sanchez, just show up in a bra. Free yourself and the rest will follow. That's a good song by In Vogue. Whatever happened to In Vogue? I wear tight clothing, high heel shoes. It doesn't mean that I'm a prostitute. No, no, no. It's a very appropriate song too. All right. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. Let me look at your, and I'll get this picture off here. I'm just going to put Elon Musk up. I don't want to be accused of Slut shaming anyone? Elon Musk. We'll put Elon back up here. There we go. It's all a grand time when you're Elon Musk. Life is just a carousel of beautiful, crazy women. Oh, I know what we need to talk about. Wait a minute. And I still see that super chat there. 1 second. I know what we need to talk about. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so can't we all agree, for the record, everyone, can't we all agree that she did have one of his children? That first baby of hers, Una or whatever. No offense to the kid. But that is Elon Musk's baby. I mean, there is some pretty solid circumstantial evidence. I don't think I could prove it in a court of law to the satisfaction of those kinds of standards. But this is what we got. We got that story coming out. What was it? Was it Jennifer Howell who claimed that she had talked to, gosh, Laura, the other Laura B would know this if she were on here. Was it Jennifer Howell who testified that, or said somewhere, that Amber Heard's sister had told her that Amber Heard and Elon were in a fight over embryos or eggs or whatever the fuck, in IVF it is. Y'all help me. Or was it that Amber Heard's dad or Amber Heard's mom had told someone? I don't know. I don't remember. It doesn't matter anymore, but y'all know what I'm talking about if you've been following Depp Heard. So this is one thing that came out. This is one thing, and I got a PayPal, and I will take a look. 1 second. This is one thing that came out through the whole Depp versus Heard saga at some point, not during the trial, but at some point, was that apparently Amber Heard and Elon were in some kind of legal fight over custody of these eggs that they had put in a lab, right? Basically through the IVS process. And so that's one piece of evidence, okay, that I would file away. Then, yes, y'all are saying, where's she living? Yeah, she's in Spain. Living in Spain right now. And she's pregnant again? She's got baby number 2 on the way, right? But I don't know if that's from Elon, although who the hell knows? It's like, even with all the stuff that was going on with Ashley St. Clair, he was apparently still sending her texts saying, I want to make a lot more babies with you. I want to make an army of babies with you. Crazy girl. I think crazy. But anyway, all right, so one piece of evidence one, Amber Heard, Elon, Whitney's sister told somebody that they were in some kind of fight over the eggs, okay? Then the way that Amber announced that she was having this baby, the way it was said, it was like, it really accentuated the idea of like, I chose this particular time or whatever to have this kid. Like it sounded like it was a really sort of decisive thing and not a like, oh, I got knocked up thing, right? Which doesn't, yes, it could be totally planned. People all the time, God bless them, they do plan their pregnancies. But there was something a little strange in the wording. I'm not going to go back and look at it, but if you remember her announcement, you'll remember it was formal. There was something formal about the way that she expressed that she was having a child, and something a little like formal or almost mechanical sounding. I can't remember about the process, but whatever. That's like a little piece of, But then the big thing is when Elon's dad went on the record sorry, my camera's a little off. I'm keep going to this. Went on the record, and was it either in his book or I think it was in an interview, but Elon's dad went on the record and said he was describing the difficult time that Elon had with Amber and the difficult nature of that relationship. And then he said, of course, something like, of course, that's how it is. It's difficult when you have a child with someone. And he kind of trailed off, or he said, of course, when you have a child with someone, trail off, right? Like an ellipsis at the end. So there's the dad basically conceding that Elon Musk had a child with Amber Heard, and that was one of the complicating factors in their relationship. Well, here's what I want to say to you. We have learned now that Elon has not only a long-standing pattern of wanting to have children immediately almost, and lots of kids with women he gets involved in. I mean, we do know that going back to his wife. I read an article years ago that his first wife, Justine, wrote. She's a writer, about her time with him, and there was nothing particularly like salacious or that interesting about it, but she did say that very early on in their relationship, he was pushing to have lots of kids, and they were really young then. I mean, they were just in college or just out of college, pushing to have lots of kids. And he told her, "Don't worry, there'll be lots of nannies." Or that's the thing about me. I always know that there'll be lots of nannies or whatever, because she was kind of hesitant. And they ended up having 5, right? Or one of them died. The first one, sudden infant death syndrome, which I wonder what that did to him. That's kind of interesting. Anyways, and then yes, he did have a second wife. They never had kids, but I think that was actually part of what led to their split, because I'd seen interviews with her where she talked about how it was a lot being stepmom to his big brood and all of that, and she was really interested in like sort of more her own career and as an actress and so forth. So anyway, didn't have kids with her, but then after her, then you get this succession of women, from Amber Heard on, where apparently there was discussion about having kids. And of course, Grimes was the girlfriend right after Amber Heard, and he had 3 with her, and was apparently really pushing that. So this is my only point with all of this, is that it's hard for me to believe that Elon, as in love with Amber as he apparently was, he said that their breakup was the most difficult time of his life and stuff. I really do think he was hooked on her for whatever reasons, superficial or deep or a mix of both. But he was really in love with her. She is beautiful. Got to concede that, right? And so why would he not want to have a kid with him? And why would she not want to have? Why would he not want to have a kid with her? And why would she not want to have a kid with him? Right? So I think that, plus some of these other little snippets of things that have come out and what the dad said, I think that first kid is his. So I don't know. I don't know what the first kid looks like, and not encouraging anyone to find out. I think they blur out the faces anyway, but it'll be interesting to see when her daughter, Amber's daughter, gets older, gets old enough to where she's photographed, to see if she looks much like Elon. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I think. Okay, let me look at the other super chat. There we go. Hey, Dan, what's up? Good to see you. Stop cheering us up. I know. I did he's responding to earlier when I was talking about all the downer stuff. I did a live stream several months ago, and I called it the most depressing live stream, because I just felt like venting. Sometimes you almost kind of use your audience, for better or worse, as kind of your therapist in a way to vent to. And so I just talked, I think, for like an hour and a half about how horrible and depressing life is and how frustrated I am with it. I talked about that Ursula K. Le Guin story, those who walk away from Amalos. And I'm not going to get into it right now, but it's a really good metaphor, I think, for the struggle that a lot of us have cognitively to, on the one hand, enjoy the beauty of life and love and wonderful things, but on the other hand, constantly be faced with the horrors of life and the things that people go through, the things that we go through, death, all of that, right? And but anyway, you should look it up if you're interested. It's a short story. You can find summaries of it too, but it's a depressing idea. I'm not going to go into it again, but it's Ursula K. Le Guin, and it's called "Those Who Walk Away from Omelas." Omelas. Look it up. It's a really interesting story, and it's kind of the way I think about life. Unfortunately, it's gloomy, but I'm also in a weird period in my life. I'll say this: I've gone through periods in my life where I was much more hopeful, much closer, I would say, to the divine force or God or whatever you want to call it, much more at peace with life. This is probably, I would say, the worst period of my life in terms of where I'm at spiritually. And I say that honestly, and we'll see what happens from here. But it is a kind of a strange turn. But then also, isn't it on par with the midlife crisis? So, I am not a youngin' anymore, no matter how many laser treatments I get. So I think it might have something to do also with reaching an age where, like, my parents starting to get sick, or I lost my dad actually some time ago, and also like feeling your mortality more. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm sure if I had a kid with Elon, though, that would make it all go away. So everybody, I do have to go to work soon, but I have a message here. Oh, let me check my PayPal too, just to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Oh, by the way, while we're talking about having kids or the idea of having kids, I know we're not covering Blake Lively stuff today, just because I felt like kind of a break, and I've got another video coming out, some videos coming out on her very soon. But how about that story in the Hollywood Reporter about Jenny Slate, one of the actresses on the Blake Lively film, Justin Baldoni film, and this story about her originally filing a complaint with Sony, but then it turns out that the Hollywood Reporter magazine retracted the story and then changed that not to, she filed a complaint with Sony, but word got back to Sony that she was upset about something. You know, these stupid journalist fuckers, these are the games that they play with us all the time, and that's why no one trusts them. You just put out a major cover story, the Hollywood Reporter. You just put out a major cover story about the epic battle between, I almost said Amber Heard, between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. This is like a big story. You know, everyone's going to be looking at it. And you make a major new accusation, which is that this actress, Jenny Slate, complained to Sony, filed a formal complaint to Sony that, get this, that Justin Baldoni's best friend and one of the producers on this thing, he's the CEO of Wayfarer, the studio, that Justin Baldoni's friend, Jamie Heath, that he gave Jenny Slate, this actress, $15,000 to pay a security deposit to get out of an apartment that she felt like that was not good for her and her young child or baby or whatever it was. So this is the situation. This actress comes to this producer. It wasn't like a personal thing, but this actress on the film expresses to the producer that she really wants to, and I'm sorry this has been off the whole time. I do need to get better checking that. But this actress comes on to the producer of her film and says, I'm living in a place that I really don't like. I wish there was a way I could get out, but I got this $15,000 security deposit, don't want to have to pay. And he says to her, we will give you that $15,000 so you can get out, because motherhood is sacred. And apparently Jamie Heath made this huge mistake of talking about how important and special and sacred motherhood is, or some jazz like that, because he was basically trying to make this woman feel good about taking this $15,000. Like, no, we're going to take care of this. We are a spiritual company. We value motherhood. I mean, their whole thing, their whole ethos, Wayfarer, with a lot of these spiritual ideas, is respect for the work of women and motherhood and all of that. He gives her the 15 grand, and what does she do? No good deed goes unpunished. She turns around and files a complaint. Well, that was the original story, but then the Hollywood Reporter retracted that. They kind of took that away stealthily and replaced it with a news story. Zach Peter was talking about this today, and the news story now frames it as, well, word got back to Sony that Jenny Slate was upset. So I don't know what has happened, but this journalism on their side, on that side, is a joke. And I don't know if there wasn't a complaint filed and they just completely got that wrong, or if there wasn't a complaint filed but they thought they would just slip that in there and it wouldn't be challenged, or if there was a complaint filed, but Jenny Slate is just getting really cold feet about all of this, because this all seemed like a good idea back when Blake Lively was urging her to come on board against Baldoni and was trying to poison everyone against this toxic director. But now, in the cold light of day, after all has been revealed, it doesn't look like such a good idea to have been complaining about Jamie Heath for something stupid like this. So she retracts. So she says, take that out, take that out. I don't know what the situation is, why this got retracted and replaced, but it just is another indication of the total shit show this has turned into. But whatever the case is, whether Jenny Slate filed a formal complaint or she was just bitching about this, you know, assuming that even happened, I mean, wouldn't it be funny if it turns out this was just a story that Blake Lively was telling people? I don't even know. I still don't feel in any way convinced that Blake Lively's recreation of all of these conversations in her lawsuit is accurate in any way. People say, oh, well, we know that Jenny Slate and Isabel Ferrar did complain about Baldoni behind the scenes. We don't know that. We actually don't know anything. We really don't. We've got rumors. We've got gossip. We've got, like in the case of the Hollywood Reporter, stuff getting printed but then retracted because it might be BS. So I don't trust anything that I'm hearing. I only trust actual textual evidence, DMs that we can see. And so, for instance, in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, we actually have text or DMs where Isabel Ferrer, the other actress that people say might have complained about him, is gushing, falling all over herself, gushing about what a great director he is and how he created such a sensitive, safe environment, blah, 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 safe space, I'll remember it forever, blah, 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 blah. That's real evidence of something, not Blake Lively says that some other actresses that she can't name that want to be anonymous complained, or the Hollywood Reporter, we thought that somebody complained, but then it turns out they didn't. Whatever. All right. So This is the last warning that I'm going to give Ethan Ralph before I have to do something dramatic. All right. I tried to slip in a little warning into an earlier live stream. I was hoping that word would get back to him, and no. And so today I announced that I would be talking about this on this stream, and he mocked me by reposting it, even though he and his team won't respond to my desperate texts and emails about our child's medical condition. So this is your last chance before I push the nuclear button on this, Ethan. You need to acknowledge your fucking kid, and you need to start paying child support. I'll come down to Mexico if I have to. You need to start paying child support. You need to acknowledge your kid, and we need to talk about what to do about your kid's medical condition. So I expect to hear from you. If I don't hear from you, then I might have to formally introduce our kid on camera and do some kind of a photo shoot and like a major media expose piece, wearing some kind of bra corset thing under a tailored jacket. So I don't want to be forced to do that. I don't want to be forced to bring our kid on camera because I want to protect him. You know, that's the whole point of this. Respect my privacy, right? But I don't know how else to get Ethan to acknowledge this. And apparently all Ethan cares about is going online with these stupid petty feuds with all of these losers. I can't even keep track of it half the time. Who's fighting who about whom, and who put some internet porn up with somebody else. And I was just like, whatever. You have a child to raise, and you need to start sending child support payments. I don't care about all these feuds. Who did this to whom, and who's mad at whom this week, and whatever. Okay? And rehab is not going to get you off the hook either. Okay? You didn't want me to tell anybody this, but the truth is, y'all, he made up that rehab story just to get out of seeing his kid, because he thought that if he told everybody that he ran off to rehab, had to run off to rehab for a little while, then I would let him off the hook on this. But I'm not. Okay? So that was just a charade. He never went anywhere. He was just sitting around playing video games. All right? So this is your last chance, Ethan, before I have to push the nuclear button on this. Oh, what's this? Just a second. It's not Ethan. It's somebody sent me something on PayPal. I just have to check it in case there's a message. Because you can send, you can tip me, and you can make comments via PayPal. Just give me a note. Oh, greetings from the Netherlands. I don't know if you want me to say your name, so I won't, but I appreciate that from you. Greetings there. So yeah, you got a few days, Ethan, before I'm going to have to bring the kid out and subject our kid to media scrutiny and do this whole expose and everything in my bra corset thingy. So choice is yours. Everyone, I appreciate y'all. I do have to go to work. I have to support myself and my child because we have a deadbeat dad, or the child has a deadbeat dad. And so anyway, but I appreciate y'all being here, and we will be back to Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni programming tomorrow. But I am about to put out some great interviews with Vanessa Santos of Renegade PR. We sat down again. It's been, a month and a half or so since we first did that interview. That was the first conversation that I did with anyone. It was really, I think, my first video that I did on Blake Lively versus Baldoni. So a lot has changed since that conversation. And so we talk about that. And then, yeah, I'm starting that series also about my analysis of Blake Lively's rhetorical tricks. Team Lively Reynolds and their rhetorical tricks. Going to be analyzing those from the perspective of an English professor. And then I've still got some Marilyn Manson content out. I pushed it back a little just because I got really busy, but there's some Marilyn Manson content I got coming out for you that my Marilyn Manson peeps will like, and much, much more. So anyway, see y'all later. Have as many kids as you can. Oh, and congratulations to Tim Pool. If I didn't say it earlier, did I? Yeah, I mentioned him. Congrats on your new kid. And this is my only question, Tim, is that I'd love to talk with you after, say, 6 months, for the first 6 months with your newborn kid. I'd love to talk with you again and see if you still think that 12 to 15 children is the optimum number.